Hi everyone. So, in typical true Murphy's Law fashion, whatever would go wrong certainly did. So, after a bit of technical difficulties, a little bit of hair disaster, and a few other things in the process, I am here. My name is Belkis Clark Mitchum. I actually am hailing to you from the Caribbean. At the moment, I am in Trinidad. I was born in a little island called St. Kitts. Grew up on an island, St. Martin, have lived in a few of the other islands, and presently live in Trinidad, at least for the moment. And today we're going to talk about mindset. Now, when you want to talk about a person, I remember once someone asking me what qualifies me to talk to others, and I remember thinking about that. At first, I felt offended at the question. What qualifies us? Because for some people, a degree does. For others, experience and a degree. For others, so there are various things that qualifies us in the view of other people to talk about anything. I can never make a claim that I'm the most qualified at anything, but I do know this. I've got some experiences that I can share with you that worked for me, and you can take from it, learn from it, and move forward. And I've seen that when I share it with others, it has also worked for them. So today it is an absolute pleasure. When you talk about mindset, oh wow, I have been there, done that, had to go through that process, the stages, what is required for success, changing my mind, changing how I view things, my principles, etc. I have been there, and hopefully a thing or two that I will share with you today can make a difference in your life and in your success on your entrepreneurial journey. I mean, that's what we're here for, right? Sisters supporting sisters along the way, and all achieving success. So it is my pleasure actually to be able to drop a few insights for you. Now, when we think about having a positive mindset, we are talking about that belief that you're a master of your ability, you can achieve whatever you set your mind to, that you believe that you can continue to learn and advance. That is a key to success. Now, success as an entrepreneur is not so much about the ability to go on an entrepreneurial journey, but more about the journey itself. And I have had to learn that in my personal life and others. I mean, we all have got some stories, but in order for me to rise from a place of suicide to a place of success, took a whole set of mindset changes. I had to change my mindset about education. I had to change my mindset about my roots, where I was born, where I came from. I had to change my mindset about my worth, my self-worth, my worthiness to be successful. Because believe it or not, a lot of us, we want to be successful, or we say we do, because that is what sounds good. That is what everybody expects us to say, and stuff like that. But what is required, a lot of the times, we are not quite willing to do, or we are afraid. We got caught up in so many fears about so many things, and fear in and of itself is a mindset. Conquering it is also a mindset, because I can tell you about that, and we can go on and on. So for me to go from a place of poverty to having 2 degrees and moving into my own business, from a person who's suicidal to rising to graduating to the top of my class at university, it took major mindset shift. And so when the person asked me what qualified me, these are some of the things that came to mind, that I've walked the path, I've journeyed. So when I'm talking about success as an entrepreneur, it is not so much about the ability to just go on a journey, because anybody can pick up and decide they're going to go on a journey. But it's about the journey itself, what you do with it, and how you approach it. Now, we all got talent, we all got skills, we got these abilities that are innate to us, that you were born with. Well, unless you're anything like me, who thought that I did not have any skills at all, except that I could put a few birds on paper. And I was like, what am I supposed to do with that? I didn't think that anybody would want to hear anything that I have to say, but over the years, that has changed all with my mindset. So we all have talents, we have skills, we have these innate abilities, and we come up with these brilliant ideas. We have intellect, many of us do, ability to reason and think critically, the ability to form ideas. These are things that on whatever scale we've got. And so sometimes we come up with this great idea, and you got the skills and the talents, or at least you got a few people maybe working with you that you can get this thing done. And you guys are doing everything. So you've got all the tools. But somehow it's not quite coming together. And you can't see the success that you want or that you envisioned. And it gives you pause. What is it that I'm missing? Why is it that my skills and my intellect isn't enough? Now, that's what we want to talk about today. Because sometimes it's not just about the skills. A lot of times it's not just about the skills. It's not just about being intelligent. It's about your mindset. And what is your mindset? That's a set of principles and values that govern how you, the individual, operates. We all have varying mindsets. Now, skills and intelligence is something, we all have, like I said, but it does not guarantee your success just because you have it's like a carpenter. If he's got all his tools and everything else right there in the workshop and everything, he got it. And he knows how to make these brilliant structures, and get his wood and get everything together. He knows how to do his thing. He got everything that he needs. And he will get up some days and do a little bit, but it never really translates. The intellect and skill he has never translates into success. Why? Mindset. It makes the world of a difference. It will revolutionize our skills and intelligence and turn common ideas into epic success. Definitely. So you don't want to lack the confidence, which is a negative mindset, by the way. You don't want to lack the confidence in the skills and you're intelligent, because it leaves you floundering and giving up whenever you encounter obstacles. So the effort you want to put in must be consistent effort to determine your success. So a positive mindset sees obstacles not as the end, but as the beginning of something new, a challenge to face, conquer, and overcome. Now, when you encounter an obstacle, it gives you that chance to learn something. And that, takes me to my first point that I want to make about your mindset. You must be teachable. Now, in neuroscience, there's a term neuroplasticity, and this basically says that you are able to rewire your brain. Your mindset can change, and that's proven by science. The things that we say and do, they become hardwired into our brains and our habits. And I'm sure that you know that. You've seen that a million times. You say it often enough, you feel it, you start to feel it, you start to think it, you start to act it, it becomes a habit, it becomes a lifestyle. So you want to be able to rewire your brain for success. I remember once I had a friend that once told me, fake it till you make it. And at first I didn't like the sentence because it just did not sound true. It did not sound authentic. And so I was like, fake it till you make it. But then I started to see that in a different light. I saw that as you change your mindset. Start thinking the things you want for yourself until they become your reality. That's how I saw that. And so that's what I started to do. So the things that we say or do, science has proven, they often become hardwired into our brains. So we can set new parts of thinking, new routes in our brains, which become easier to use. The question then is, What is it you're saying about your success? And what is it you're doing most often that is establishing this pattern that doesn't have you where you need to be? Time to reconstruct your brain for success. So one, you must be teachable. Tell yourself you can learn something new. You don't want to be a know-it-all, because none of us do actually know all of anything, no matter how much of an expert we are in the area. So be teachable. A positive mindset helps us to accept areas of shortcomings, learn from them, and invest those lessons learned into our future access. If there's nothing else for you to learn, then you are already at the pinnacle of your success, and there's nowhere else for you to go. So what is it you're doing most? So you want to be teachable. Another thing is, this might sound so cliche, but you've got to see yourself as a success. I remember when I was going off to university. Now, it took me 11 years to get to university for my first degree. And I remember when I was leaving home, I had no money in my pocket. I had no idea. What I had was an uncle who sponsored me a ticket and an acceptance letter. And I had no idea how I was going to pay for university, but I was leaving my home. I gave up everything and I was going. And when I left, I told my mom, I am going in among all these young brains who are just coming out of high school or whatever, and they're passionate and their brains have been working, and my brain has been on the shelf basically for the past 11 years. But this was something that I really, really wanted to do. And I told her, I'm going to graduate top of my class. I'm going to be the valedictorian. I was one of the oldest students there, in that university. And I worked hard. I emptied myself and made myself teachable, and I absorbed everything that I could. Then I put my skills, my intellect to work for me, and graduated valedictorian of the class 2014 with my first degree. And that's rising from a girl who used to tell herself, or who lived a life, that she couldn't do it. She was worth nothing. She couldn't make it. Who had multiple attempts at suicide, who had survived abuse, who had risen above the trenches to graduate at university, top of my class. So it showed me how being teachable matters. I pretended like I knew nothing at university and absorbed, but I always thought critically about whatever I was being told and was never afraid to ask a question. So you don't want to be a know-it-all. You want to be teachable. It helps us to accept our areas of shortcomings, learn from them, like I said, and invest these lessons in our future success. The other thing is, as I said, you want to see yourself as a success. Now, if you cannot see where you want to go, if you can at least imagine and picture the places that you want to be, where you see your business going, how you see it expanding, growing, benefiting people, then you're not ready for a success. You must be able, even if it is just the first step you can see yourself at. Maybe you cannot see the entire staircase to success, but if you can at least see the next step of where you want to be, you're on your way to being successful. You see, focus is critical, but flexibility is of paramount importance when it comes to success as an entrepreneur. Employ a mindset that can flow with change. You don't want to be so stoic, so brittle, that when the flows come against you, when the obstacles come, that you just bend and break, rather than bend and go with the flow. You want to make sure that you're flexible. So being adaptable allows for growth and development and the ability to recognize new opportunities and walk into them. Because if you're so set that with one mindset, and this is it, and this is how it's going to work, and you're not open to change, and you're not being flexible, you're going to miss some opportunities to actually walk into new areas that might work better in your favor as you move along this journey towards your entrepreneurial success, because it is possible for anybody. If you knew my surroundings and where I came from to where I presently stand, it is possible for anybody. So you can achieve success, and you got to be able to see yourself as successful. People who are successful envision the possibility that they could be. Another thing is, if you constantly doubt yourself, then your product or service will come across as weak and uncertain. A positive mindset is the spark that lights up a brilliant idea and turns skills and intelligence into tangible success. So you want to be able to see yourself in the light, in that line. Now, another thing you want to do is appreciate wealth. Now, I grew up in a society where people said you don't focus on money, you know, and so you had this mindset of giving away basically your skill. For 12 years, I did motivational speaking. I spoke to people, coached people, you know, based on my experiences and things that I have learned. For 12 years, I did that free of charge, you know, because it's like, oh, you shouldn't take money for this, and I, you know, and maybe it's just to help people and stuff like that. Now, you do not become a slave to wealth, but you've definitely got to learn to value wealth. If you're going to be successful, it's going to come. And you've got to know the role that it plays in your life and how, you know, applicable it is. So you don't want to just be, oh, it's all about the wealth, because then you lose sight of the importance and significance of the service or the product that you are offering. But you also don't want to reject it. Do you know why? Because you deserve it. You deserve to be compensated for your time that you invest in, the skills that you invest in, the intellect that you invest in, the part of you that you're exposing, your vulnerabilities. There is nothing wrong with being rewarded for the things that you're releasing into the universe and into other people's lives. There's a balance. You give some, but you get to choose the opportunities and the places where you feel comfortable giving. But you must be comfortable with your wealth. Appreciate it. Do what needs to be done to get where you need to be, and appreciate the rewards that will come. Success involves a mindset that is not a slave to wealth, but that can surely appreciate it. So do not be afraid to make your money. Develop a mindset, though, that understands and values wealth. Remember, you do not become a slave to it, but you learn to understand, value, and appreciate your wealth, because you are deserving. Now, all of that comes with some discipline. You must be disciplined. Now, a lot of the times in starting up business, we overwork ourselves. We've got to work smart. You got to know there's a lot of times it's going to take a lot from you. But if it's taking everything from you all the time that you're no use to yourself, your product, or your service when you're done, then you're not quite working as smart as you ought to be. So you want to be disciplined. Overworking yourself is not really a healthy mindset. But knowing when to work hard, put in the necessary hours is, and that is what will lead to success. You must be disciplined and responsible. You must be accountable to your customers, your stakeholders. This will ensure stability for your business. When you tell people you're going to do something, do it. Don't look for shortcuts and shortchanging people. Don't shortchange yourself. Give yourself a chance. Put your best self into your product and services and be accountable. People can take your word for it. They'll be willing to wait for the product, the service you're willing, if they know that you're giving quality and that you're responsible and accountable. So you want to make sure, and all of that comes into your discipline. So you got to know how much hours is required to get you where you need it to be. All right, so you want to be disciplined about it, and this starts with a mindset. Remember that to be responsible and disciplined with yourself everything starts with the way that you think, the way that you view things, the way that you view yourself. And you may have heard this before, and you may say, I know that, but sometimes it's worth really repeating and telling yourself. So be disciplined, be accountable. The fifth point is silence the negatives, even when it is your own. Now, in a conversation recently with an important person in my life, they told me, negatives also highlights areas you can improve. So sometimes people tell you no, and they may give you a reason or they may not, but it gives you a chance to go back to the drawing board and revamp or add or maybe subtract something. So you will hear the negatives, but you want to silence them when they come to the point of stopping you in your tracks or derailing you from your goals. Sometimes too, we are worst critics at times. If for every time I've heard, you're not worth it, you won't make it, you're no good, you will end up nothing. For every time I heard those statements, what are you talking about? Why don't you just get a regular job? Why don't you just get married and have kids? This thing that you're doing, you just need to take it easy. Why are you so passionate? Why are you? And I heard all the stuff. This is not a good idea. This that don't make sense. The market isn't ready for that. Nah, that is not something. Oh goodness gracious, I've heard it all. The negatives. Sometimes it's myself telling myself, girl, you're just a girl from a small village in a small Caribbean territory. What do you think you're doing? Where are you going? You can't roll with the big dogs. You're gonna get crushed. What are you talking about? You motivate. Who you can motivate? You could barely motivate yourself. All this kind of stuff I used to tell myself. So we sometimes is the voice of we are our voices of negativity. So it's not always the outside force, but you do have a lot of it on the outside. I could tell you that. You want to silence sometimes those negative voices. If someone is going to tell you something that seems negative, but it makes you go back and revamp, rethink, replan so that you can go again, take it. Otherwise, silence the negative voices. What you think about yourself and your business is largely determined and affected by your mindset, by how you think. How far you progress is partly started by the ability and intellect, but supported and advanced by your mindset. Your mindset revolutionizes your regular thoughts and ideas and turn them into the spectacular. Number 6, you got to know how to roll with the punches. Be aware that rejections are inevitable. A positive and success-oriented mindset do not let rejection deter them from their goals or their objectives. You must wire your brain to know that you can handle setbacks and obstacles. A lot of the times, and I was famous for this, when somebody rejected me, I'm like, I'm not opening up myself to that again. I am not doing that twice. And because whenever you've got a product or a service, whenever you're looking for success, when you're looking to put yourself out there, you make yourself vulnerable. And a lot of us do not know how to handle being hit in those vulnerable spots. You know what? It's going to come. Roll with the punches. Because someone doesn't see the value in your product, because they do not see the value in your product, does not mean it's not valuable. And you need to remember that. So when the rejections come, and they will come, they will come. Every now and again, you're going to get 1 to 100 more. Yeah, but know that it's okay, because not everybody has the same vision. You're the one that has been inspired and blessed with this product, this service, this business idea. The rest of the world don't need to catch it. They only need to know that you're providing something they need when you start providing it. So don't expect. And sometimes we look to the people who are closest to us to give us all the support and things. And if we're blessed, we will get that. If we are lucky, we get that. But there are times, many times, in many situations, is the people who never say, I know you growing up. Where you going, trying to rise above where we're at, where we're supposed to at. So people would have set a standard for you. They would determine how far you ought to advance. They would determine what you ought to achieve and not achieve. The thing is, are you going to let them? Because it comes down to, they are living their lives the way they want to. Then they're going to tell you how to live your life the way they want to. So when you have been what everybody else want you to be, and you've taken what they've said and made it you, who is left to live the life you ought to live? Who's left to be you? So you gotta learn to roll with the punches and not let it deter you. Okay? So a positive and success-oriented mindset do not let rejections deter them from their objectives. Cry if you need to. Oh goodness, on the road to success, there are lots of tears. Cry if you need to, but you get up. You brush yourself off. And you know, I can do this. I've got something valuable to share. Maybe this group doesn't get it, but the other group would. So you got to seek out the group that would. And then, even those who didn't get it in the past, starts all of a sudden recognizing your value. So you got to roll with the punches. So those are 6 things I wanted to highlight. Be teachable. Always tell yourself you can learn something. You're not a know-it-all. See yourself as a success. I cannot emphasize this enough, because seeing yourself as a success, it gives you this mindset where you can flow with changes. You can see new opportunities, walk into them. You're seeing yourself where you need to be. Start thinking it, you believe it. And science proves this. Science says we can rewire our brain. So what is it you're wiring your brain for today? What is it that you are telling yourself about your business or where you ought to be? Are you just naysaying and negative? And let me tell you something. Success doesn't mean that every day you're going to get up and feel like, yeah, and I'm on top of the world and I got all my stuff together. No. There are many days you're going to get up and you're going to just want to stay in bed and go like, why do I have to hit the grind again? Why am I doing this? I'm just exposing myself and it's getting me nowhere. You understand? So you got to rewire that thinking. Yeah, I might hear some no's today, but I'm also here. Yes, I'm expecting my yeses. So you got to get up, step out there into your success every single day. And it's not about feeling like you're successful. It's knowing where you want to get. That's why I said it's not so much about just the ability to go on a journey or the ability to achieve a goal. It's about the journey itself. Every step, every no, every yes, every maybe, every possibility, every get out of here, every come back tomorrow, but I don't really want to talk to you. All of that is a part of the journey. And that is what matters most. The journey in and of itself is your successful goal. It is your success story. So you want to be teachable. You want to see yourself as a success. You want to appreciate wealth. You want to be disciplined. You want to silence the negatives, and you want to be able to roll with the punches. Remember that a positive mindset is the spark that lights up a brilliant idea and turns skills and success into skills and intellect into tangible success. You want to be able to be able to rewire the way that you think. And in cultivating your best mindset, as we wrap up, in cultivating your best mindset for success, there are a few things you need to remember. Be confident. Now, you don't want to be arrogant. Nah, we all don't like that. You want to be confident. Be sure of yourself. It doesn't matter background. It doesn't matter that you don't know it all, because nobody does, no matter how successful they are. No matter how far they made it. You want to be confident. You want to say, I've got this. I know I'm going to get it. I'm in the learning process. Few bumps and scrapes along the way. But be confident. No arrogance. That's a negative mindset, negative attitude, negative behavior. And it turns people off. But you want to be sure, because people also don't want the wimpy. People need to know. Then when they're dealing with you, they can have confidence in you because they see your confidence. So they need to know that confidence does a thing to others where it inspires them, not only about themselves, but about whatever it is you're saying or doing. So you want to be sure about yourself. You want to be sure about your product, about your service. Be confident of where you're going. A lot of the times we're so afraid. We're so negative. We're afraid of everything. We give ourselves all these excuses as to why we cannot move, why we won't move, why tomorrow will be better than today. We give ourselves 1,000,001 excuses. We sit and we wallow in self-pity sometimes. It's okay to cry, but get up and move, because ain't nobody moving for you. And another thing, remember, no one owes you anything. You got to go get this for you. There are times people will invest in you and they'll encourage you and support you. But In reality, they don't owe you. You owe you though. So don't be busy living everybody else's life. Don't be busy just helping everybody else achieve their dreams because you lack the confidence to believe in yourself and that what you have to offer is worth something. So be confident. Know the value of your product. This is so important. Know the value of your product. I cannot take this from you if you aren't sure it's a good thing. If you're selling this to me in an iffy kind of way. Know the value of your product, your service. So it's not just to know the value of yourself. You must know the value of what it is you're offering. Talk to yourself. Think it. Say it out loud. There are many times I would get up and I tell myself, you're beautiful. I've been told many times, you're ugly. You're never going to amount to much. And I'll tell myself, I'm beautiful. I am a success. And slowly but surely, my brain started to be rewired. When your brain starts to be rewired for success, different ideas starts to come. Where you felt stumped, all of a sudden, you get insight and enlightenment. And that is a proven truth. I can testify to that. You understand? So you got to start to know the value of your product and your services. Be bold in doing business differently. Now, we got a lot of self-help books, and there are a lot of people who can share their success story. I can share mine, and I can tell you 1,000,001 things. But you see that thing that is who you are, that unique quality, that is what take the common ideas. 1,000,000 people could have the same idea. And 1,000,000 of them could put it out there and appeal to 1,000,000 other people. It's all about putting your stamp on it, your brand. It's your personal patent to the world. When you offer your service, don't just mimic what other people do. Don't just look to pattern and say, okay, they did this first, that. You've got to, you follow the steps, yeah, but don't lose you in the process. It is important that you put that out there. Embrace your unique and be bold in doing business differently. Because when the river is flowing in one direction and everybody's content to go along with the flow, it is that one individual that goes against the flow that people take notice of. And you'll be asked, who do you think you are? You'll be told you're crazy. How can you go upstream when the natural flows to go downstream? Because in going upstream, you develop skills, talents, you have experiences that those who just go with the flow doesn't have. Think about it for a moment. Going against the flow. And that's another thing I want to talk about. Be willing to go against the status quo. It's all right. It sets structure, gives society boundaries to function in, but it's okay to break forth from that. You want to go against the flow. You're swimming in a river, you're going against it. It's so easy to just go with it. We go with everything, do things the way everybody does. But does that give you the real success you want? Does it unleash the authenticity of you, your product, and your service? Going against the flow, it strips you sometimes of your outer skins that you've been hiding behind and reveals something new in you. It develops a strength to go against the natural flow and order of what everybody else is saying you should do or you shouldn't do. Maybe having a regular job is for you, maybe. But maybe being your own boss is best for you. What about that? So we want to be able to rewire our brain. We want to unleash our authenticity. We want to be confident. We want to know that we can succeed. We will succeed. We are succeeding. You want to go against the flow and don't be afraid to be yourself. Me, I'm quirky. I'm quirky and probably a little bit strange to a lot of people sometimes, you know. But I have learned that my weirdness is who I am. Embrace that. And I incorporate that to some extent. You can't do that too much because people think you're a little nuts and then business starts to go off track. But embrace who you are. You are valuable, and what you are not here by mistake. You're a marvel. So you got to step out there and be a marvel to your environment, to your world. You got to revolutionize where you are. And your mindset is what takes the ordinary ideas and revolutionize it. So you want to be confident. You want to know the value of your product and your service. You want to be bold in doing business differently. Embrace your uniqueness and be willing to go against the status quo. My name is Belkis Clark Mitchum, and maybe you've not heard about me before, but you're about to hear a whole lot more, and I'm hoping that I hear a whole lot more about you. I'm hoping to, well, I believe that if you apply what we've shared here today, that it can definitely positively impact your life. It's been a pleasure. My website is presently under construction. That's why I haven't shared it yet, but I'll be back to share it in a not too long from now. But I do blog. I've started my blog, and I've dropped it in the tag above. You can let me know. And if you want a synopsis of what I've just said, just feel free to send me your email, and it will certainly be a pleasure. To take us out of this live, just a few things to remember. Your story is what qualifies you. Your experiences is what qualify you. You can have skills, you can have talent, you can be super intelligent. Your mindset is what will make the difference. My mindset took me from suicide to success. I look forward to hearing your success story.